Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. This is our fun little experiment we're doing. 30-minute sort of market summary, quick sort of overview of what the platform's saying. And then, of course, every day of the week, we're always watching something individual and different. Of course, also through the quarter. And through the year, we have different topics to cover. So I think on balance, it should actually be a pretty good value added little service that we're providing for YouTube. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. Hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Also, I think we have the super chats going. So maybe if we do really good broadcast one day and you're overly impressed with the content, maybe you can slide us a buck or two while you're at it. Who knows? Also, too, this should be a little bit of a teaser to encourage you to maybe consider coming on and joining the site, where we're going to have special guests. And actually, we have actually quite a talented OG, original gangster group of TRIers. And of course, other OGers, if you happen to be watching this and you're like, hey, I wouldn't mind coming on and throwing in my 2 cents, just reach out. We'd love to have special guests on through the trading week. I think typically Wednesdays and Fridays we'll try and do something. And to that end, we have one of our level 2 instructors with us today, Murat. Murat, are you here, sir?
I'm here, Brian. Hey, hello, everyone.
That's smooth Turkish, German.
Yeah.
Smoothie. So Murat's a huge fan of cycles, and of course in the level 2 program he's a great contributor for WD GAN and our study of historical figures in technical analysis. I think he does a fantastic job. It's going to be joined by Sharktoshi, actually is graduating to instructor mode this coming new year. So super excited for the team. Anyway, so we'll be having a report from Murat in the sort of second half. I can't remember. We have a name specifically for the second half video, but anyway, that's on the site. So consider joining the site to listen to Murat's report today. So this should be a good half hour or so. Ideally, I would like to start off the conversation with a review of the dashboard and sort of what the breadth indicators are sort of suggesting to us right now. If I understand correctly, Stuart is migrating. I think there's a new version of PHP or something out there. So we had to migrate to a new database. So fortunately, I didn't notice we're kind of splotchy here this morning, but we do have this. This is the page that you would see as just sort of a general site member. You know, it's a basic default dashboard. Hey, there's the breadth down there. So that's, well, there's a reason why, because it was hiding down here. This is supposed to be up top here, but anyway, I'll talk to the tech department after that. Anyway, point here is this is what sort of the general site members, 30-day trial people would see. So I guess, and I was going to show you sort of our more advanced subscription for the dashboard. We have a whole bunch of fun little pages that we put together that clearly sort of articulate this message in detail. So like the breadth overview page, we get a lot, like a really good look at the entire market as well as crypto. Actually, we even put together a crypto specific page, and this just looks, oh, so pretty. This is going to be such a killer app for the coming bull cycle. And I have to say, breadth indicator turned back positive there about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You can see that the stock market itself begrudgingly turned back positive a week or so ago. And this signal looks like it's actually doing pretty good. Again, I'm always astounded by this stuff because, you know, they always say your opinion usually is absolute wrong in the market, and the market's just going to do what it wants to do. And I mean, look at that. And look at this silly Litecoin just keeps surging higher. And if anything, this is the perfect analogy of trading and investing. Is the market's job is actually to inflict as much money, or no, to inflict as much pain on as many people as much of the time as possible. And we're in this sort of part of the market state now that this is what's called climbing the wall of worry. And actually, there's an interesting study that we were doing in our day trader room this morning that I have a funny feeling. And of course, it's purely conjecture. You just don't know. But I have this funny, sneaky, conjecture feeling that we're doing a crab pattern here. Actually, ironically enough, at the end of this is a bearish crab pattern at this point, D point. That's when actually we have to start hunting shorts. I'm not going to get into all that today, but what it does kind of highlight, and I thought this was interesting, is we might find that Bitcoin works its way right back up into levels where this is where the smart money would be shorting. And it's interesting how Feigenbaum levels of previous market structure, and this one technically is still valid, paints 2.618. It's interesting how the market stalled there and had to come back down and check the lows. If we go and W out here, interesting how 2.618s are going to be just simply a test of that previous high, and 4.669s are going to be just 78.6s. And the interesting thing about these 4.669s is notice how they line up nicely with this bearish crab pattern. So that means once we get to this point, dun, 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 you better be careful. Anyway, we'll go into more detail about this in tonight's crypto show, Wednesdays. I have a fun little team. Paul, our Romanian mountain man, beat cop turned pro trader. And I got to say, he's pretty damn good. I don't say that jokingly. I say that in all seriousness. And Ben puts together some just beautiful sort of, kind of that like on-chain analysis, kind of beautiful analysis that he does. Talking about having events and all those kind of fun things, and our crypto cycles and when to buy and stuff. I mean, a great show. So if you're interested in crypto and you want to talk more about this, tune into that show tonight. Of course, in the after show here, we'll probably talk a little bit more about these kind of charts. So I did find this fascinating, and the only reason why I mention this, of course, this is a part of the broadcast where we're supposed to be chit-chatting here about the breadth of the market, and son of a gun, this silly breadth indicator proved its here we'll go over to the crypto page, proved its worth once again. And the interesting thing is now if this thing goes and M's out and starts breaking down, it would make sense to hop off of the long side. Down here being uber bearish probably wasn't the best idea. So anyway, there are a lot of little altcoins that are looking really sexy too. So again, tune into that show tonight. We'll probably take a look at some altcoins. Broader market breadth, as we kind of said, still pointing up. We do have Fed minutes coming out here in the next couple hours. And of course, also to remember, we're in the January barometer part, reporting part of the year. They say as January goes, so goes the year. So as a result, and of course, I got lots of charts detailing all that kind of fun stuff. This has been sort of our January price action in the stock market through the beginning of the year. The first day, now we're sort of getting into the first week. Also watching the broader market and other proxies in the market and how they're acting. Interesting how US dollar started right out of the gate, well bid, but has actually put in a fairly well-defined M here. So that might be an interesting message for us as risk takers going forward, that through the course of 2023, the US dollar ends up topping out and starting to roll over, which of course would set the base for our next growth cycle. Bonds, same sort of thing. Bonds started out of the gate just very negative, interest rates going up, then put in a bottom, and have actually now been sort of surging their way higher here over the past 24 hours or so. Gold market jumped higher right out of the gate, then thumped, then pushed higher. And actually, this is what I would expect. One of the leading ideas heading into sort of 2027, 2028, 2029, I actually really like the idea of being long gold. So, interesting historical study we did on Newmont mining recently, and Newmont did very, very well in the early 80s. Interesting. Look at Mr. Crude Oil. Can't buy a friend here. And ironically enough, half of the reason why gold will do well is because energy won't. And, if you play the commodities long enough, you'll come to learn that, when energy is going up, it's very difficult for the metals to go up and vice versa. Based on what I'm seeing right out of the gate here in the energy market, and also, too, how much of the energy market is dependent on what's going on there in Eastern Europe and how long lasting is that going to be? Has that just deteriorated into a stalemate? Who knows? Is Russia basically been taken out of the energy equation now? And now we have to deal with a new reality. And other members are more than happy to step up and fill the empty holes in demand. So interesting to see, and also too, I guess talking about Bitcoin and crypto, this did surprise me a little bit. Crypto's, Bitcoin's actually doing relatively okay here, and this also too might be a function. Number one, the stock market and crypto are highly correlated, so there's always that we want to take into consideration. And I think if we stretch this out, and you can kind of see stock market started out of the gate down, and so did Bitcoin. We put in this bottom through yesterday afternoon, started working our way higher. This is just a 5-minute chart. But you can see we're pushing higher here. And then also crypto just pushing beautifully higher. I was kind of hoping that there would be a nice long setup here for me, but you could see the market's like, sorry, Brian. We're still doing our initial continuation phase. I was kind of hoping for a nice consolidation. And I even said in yesterday's video, let's see if we can get this to develop. But the market's like, no, I'm just going straight up. Screw you. But what the hell? As I said, and I don't know whether I have told you guys in the public, everybody on the site knows, I'm basically trading Bitcoin based on the bread signals here. So I got my message to go long Bitcoin here. So actually, and I do have a portfolio that I'm tracking that's just going to be algo signals on Bitcoin. So I am long. And if they want to take Bitcoin higher, all right, I suppose I can live with that. Anyway, so the point here is just January barometer. Interesting how we're firming up here. That's good sign. And also, too, kind of like the market started right out of the gate on an actual bit of a positive note. We actually moved higher right out of the gate. So that tells me beginning of January, we should be uppy. Unfortunately, once we get sort of out of this January barometer report, I'm very concerned about sort of what February, March, April looks like. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. Point of the matter here, and I think I even tweeted this out, the first day of 2023 is in the books. There's that little pump up right out of the gate. Then, oh boy, just the biggest, nastiest dump. And, our money cycle image that we've been showing you guys recently has said that the Fed should probably stop raising interest rates somewhere around the end of the spring, beginning of the summer, which technically is sort of that June period. And then we start to firm up here heading into the second half of the year. So ironically enough, this 2023 so far, the traders are actually saying it's probably going to look a hell of a lot like 2022 looks. Just a nasty first half, and then a bottom mid-year, and then climbing the wall of worry into the fall. And we finish the year on an up note, but down for the year. That wouldn't surprise me. Bitcoin might actually be a little bit better. Like I said, this is the stock market. Might even reflect sort of brick and mortar. Interesting how Bitcoin also had that sort of nice start to the beginning of the year. I'm going to put this on a 5-minute. So a little bump up to get going, then a dump. And, is this sort of like the that harmonic pattern completes itself, and then we have to come back down, test the lows, maybe even trade down to those weekly harmonic levels. Tough to say. Then quite affirming, quite surprising, very firm. And you can see end of the first day, if we just go on sort of New York retail hours, that would be 1300 hours. So 1 o'clock my time. Yeah, so kind of like the stock market, some sort of bottom mid-year, finish the year on an up note. So anyway, so there's the first day of the calendar year. Let's now I'll be concentrating on how the whole first week looks, and then how the whole first month looks, and then sort of get a general feel for what this year should look like. Anyway, news, it seems to be that we're getting the same message repeatedly here in the market, and that is activities at things like factories and stuff. We had the PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, all that kind of fun stuff come out, if I'm not mistaken. There's ISM Manufacturing. So it's not PMI. There it is, ISM Manufacturing, PMI. So it is PMI. Anyway, these numbers came out here this morning. You can see market reading below 50. Remember, we talked about this the other day, called contraction. So the data here still showing the economy contracting. Job openings are rising. So I suppose that kind of hopefully making the Fed a little happier, more unemployed. Manufacturing employment. Now this is interesting because Ray said, reading above 50, is the manufacturing industry coming back to North America after spending 20 years overseas? That's been the scuttlebutt. You listen to that Peter Thiel guy. That's his whole sort of shtick is the globalization is unwinding. Interesting new orders index, though, sort of what the future is going to tell, actually a downtick. So, this is probably the kind of stuff that we have to face in like February, March, April, that the economy itself is contracting. Although, and this is the problem here, is it's this number again. So Red Book, this is U.S. retail sales, and you've heard Chappelle talk about how the consumer is 2/3 the inflation problem. And of course, the labor market is ridiculously tight, and all these people are making too much money and they're demanding high wages. And what's happening with the money that they're making? They're going and spending it in the economy. And of course, this was Mr. Druckenmiller's number one complaint about the Fed. Why have you done this to our economy? This retail sales number, like if you look over it, this should have never happened. You're not supposed to have 20% retail sales growth. I mean, what the hell is the definition of inflation? If that isn't it, I don't know what is. So the fact that this number is still begrudgingly double digits means that the economy is still running way too hot. And so this is probably another reason why I think the Fed is, in our euro dollar, analysis, the Fed spreads. I don't know whether I want to pull that up. I'm running out of time here. It's still all pointing that, short rates still probably got to go higher. And interestingly enough, we did the first 2-week study, and that's probably something I should probably review with you. Maybe once that study's done, then we can just do a quick overview with you guys in the public. But that also the Q4 first 2-week study, and then ultimately what happened through the quarter is still saying the economy is right up top and still booming, which is ironic, right? Because now we have this situation where it's almost like what's good for Wall Street is bad for Main Street. What's bad for Main Street is good for Wall Street. We're in one of those kind of scenarios right now. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, whatever. You can use all the different cliches. So point of the matter here is very, poor actual fundamentals, which is, of course, what the Fed wants, right? We're slowing things down. But at the same time, too, the consumer's still spending like a drunken whore. And unfortunately, because of that, Fed's probably got to still sort of keep the pressure on interest rates. As I had said earlier, in about an hour and a half, we're going to have sort of the last major econ for the day. We'll have the FOMC minutes, and usually these minutes actually act as a bit of a catalyst. So you might find that if we're booming higher into that Fed minutes release, we actually see that the market reverses and calms down. And conversely, if the market's weak into that event, we're probably going to see a bit of a rally. So I won't really talk day trader setups here today. It's interesting. In the day trader room, we had a whole bunch of alt ABCDs that fired on the euro close, and internal measures went absolutely crazy. So it's actually it's interesting. One of our day traders was all pissed off because he had to go to the bathroom and he came back and then the market had already taken off on him. Poor old Justin. When nature calls. I will say that Chris and I are having a fantastic time trading the opening range trade setup, and noticing that, now that we're sort of back to business as usual, there's the propensity to make money out of the opening range trade is working quite nicely. And actually, we had a really beautiful example of almost everything that we do at TRI, sort of juxtaposing both, timing catalyst trades, i.e. Stock market opens or futures markets open, regular pit session, that kind of stuff. And then some technical analysis. So this was the gold market this morning. What did you think, Chris? Was this a fun opening range trade to trade this morning?
Oh yeah, this morning was pretty fun.
Yeah.
The profits were good.
Yeah. And the cool part about it is this is just a simple juxtaposition of this chaos theory. So in essence, I watched two different opening range trades. The range prior to the market open, and then the first minute of trade after the market opens. And as you can see from here, we got into a nice long on this open. Quickly move stop to scratch, quickly take profits on the initial, and then just for fun, and you can see I sold into basically that 2.618. But for fun, we kind of said, well, fog and bombs, let's maybe, and this was an interesting level against some overnight highs, reload zones, all that kind of fun stuff. Let's maybe hunt to let another one go up top here. And I was astounded. It's incredible when you watch these chaos things happen that basically that was the top. Just absolutely nailed it. So I got to say, I was very proud. Number one, process goals. And that's what I always stress. And what do you think, Chris? Do you like our process that we have on the opening range trade there?
Smooth process. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're getting, we've been doing it now for a couple of weeks. Chris and I are trading partners. And I strongly suggest that you work with a trading partner. Makes holding yourself accountable to your behavior a lot easier if there's like another human there to go, are you sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? And then also really what ends up happening is I actually end up going out of my way to make sure that I do process goals. So Chris doesn't have the opportunity to go, you suck, man. So anyway, point of the matter here is nice profitable day. Statistics look good. Average winners bigger than average losers. Interestingly enough, the average hold period for a typical winner now is turning into longer than average hold period for losers. And of course, money made on the day, your average winning day is bigger than your average losing day. So everything's humming along nicely here. So very proud of that. As I had said, once we jump out of sort of opening range trade, was hunting regular trade setups. And actually one gentleman, Andrew, I'm exceedingly impressed with his day trading skills and him sort of incorporating a whole bunch of different concepts into his trading. And as you can see, we had some alt ABC targets, and it looks like the market ran up into that cluster, and you can kind of see the market stalling out here. And poor old Andrew, or not Andrew, Justin. Maybe we'll invest in some depends for Justin. I don't know. Anyway, it was a fun morning in the day trader room regardless. So TRI side pretty busy. We're humming along. I've noticed that a lot of our recent graduates are sort of moving into their day trading acumen. they're getting their act together. I can start to see the behavior that I like to see out of professionals. I have to say, I'm very proud of the job everybody at TRI is doing. We have a diverse offering. Like I said, once I'm done here, we'll pop on over and we'll talk to our level 2 instructor and see what he's sort of seeing in the marketplace right now for the community. So if you can, please, you are welcome. We do have a 30-day trial coming up here. Well, actually, anytime. So you can just kick the tires and watch what we talk about aftermarket. We do have, I suppose the other thing that I should probably just mention here, of course, because it is the beginning of the school term, is we do have, a new school term starting here. So if you would like to become part of the fold, you're more than welcome. We actually have a raffle coming up here, so you might even win a free seat. I'm sure Chris will include the link in the comments. Is that what it is, or the description?
In the description, already there.
Awesome, thank you, sir. All right, is there anything I missed? I think I did about a half an hour there. It's always tough.
That was perfect. And I think we covered all of our bases. And you mentioned the crypto show later on this evening.
Yeah. So be sure to tune in for that. Actually, I think we did have our stock pickers club meeting last night, but actually it was interesting. Didn't really have a lot of new ideas coming out of the club. Actually, the best idea that we had coming out of the club last night was actually somebody pitched us a shitcoin. Are you allowed to say that? Probably not on YouTube. Sorry, but a alternative cryptocurrency, we'll call it, saying, this thing's pretty darn cheap. What are the odds of this thing popping up to like 50% rules, Collins dump chaser zones? And somebody basically said, this is the idea. I'm going to shill you tonight in your stock pickers club. It's interesting how the crypto stocks don't look like they're quite ready to turn yet. But man, a lot of these cryptocurrencies sure look good. And, this has got little old lady kind of written all over it. So, all right. I think I'll leave the free broadcast at that for today. We do have Julian and his baby powder report tomorrow. He is in Japan and their hours of operation are very different. So the broadcast might be at a little bit of a different time tomorrow. If you are interested in these little summary videos, I'm not quite sure whether he's going to be doing one or not, but just be forewarned that on Thursdays, and especially with Julian being at a different part of the world, that they might, the little update video might come at a different time. So, all right, an hour and a half, we've got Fed minutes, which will probably be a catalyst for all the day traders to keep an eye out for. Also, too, I would imagine most of the day traders are pretty much done for the day. They've already made their money. We're going to head off and have a chat with Marat. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. PMA for the win. Other than that, the only thing left for Brian to say is bye for now.
Yeah. Bye, Brian. And